All systems ready.
Hey everybody, this is the Masked Rules Lawyer coming back at you again, continuing our series on ranking every D&D spell, starting with cantrips, going all the way to the 9th level, and today we are looking at Druidcraft. Now, just real quick, going to run through how we rank these, S-Class being the highest ranked spells, the ones that we always want to take whenever they're available, and sometimes even going out of our way to snag a feat or some other way to grab this spell that may not, make it come naturally on a character spell list. Maybe you have to multi-class, something like that. It's worth going out of your way to pick that up to have this because it's just that good. A tier is obviously the next best. The spells that are going to be extremely good and almost always a pickup. You may not be so good that you're going to go out of your way like to grab a feat to pick it up, but when it's available, it's such a strong, solid pick. It's almost always going to be a consideration. B tier is going to be slightly more situational, that in the right build or the right context, it's going to really perform extremely well. Other times, maybe not so much. So not as reliable, not as obvious of a choice, but still very solid. C tier is going to be a little bit more middling. In certain niche situations, it's going to come through where, hey, this was useful, glad I had it. But most of the time, it's going to be a spell that isn't that useful and isn't very impactful. And most of the time, you're going to be better off picking something else. But there are times where you might be glad you have it. And D tier are just the total traps, the spells you should absolutely just stay away from. There's almost always something that can produce the effects better, sometimes with items, like basic items or other actions you can take. Just almost no reason to ever take that particular spell. So here we are looking at Druidcraft. Again, this is a cantrip, casting time of 1 action, a range of 30 feet. Components are verbal and somatic. It has a instantaneous duration. It's from the School of Transmutation, and it is a control spell. So how you use this as well, it is you whisper to the spirits of nature. You create one of the following effects within range. You create a tiny, harmless sensory effect that predicts what the weather will be at your location for the next 24 hours. The effect might manifest as a golden orb for clear skies, a cloud for rain, falling snowflakes for snow, and so on. The effect persists for 1 round. You instantly make a flower blossom, a seed pod open, or a leaf bud bloom. You create an instantaneous, harmless sensory effect, such as falling leaves, a puff of wind, the sound of a small animal, or the faint odor of a skunk. The effect must fit in a 5-foot cube. And finally, you can instantly light or snuff out a candle, a torch, or a small campfire. This is available, no surprise here, it is available to druids, and that is the only class it is available to. So, what do we think about Druid? Well, or Druidcraft? Well, I gotta say, I'm not a big fan of Druidcraft. My fiance plays a fairy in the campaign that I run, and she has the Druidcraft cantrip naturally. So she's had it since the beginning. I think maybe she's used it once in the entire campaign. It just doesn't come up very much where it's actually useful. The ability to predict the weather for the next 24 hours, I mean, that can be a little bit more useful depending on your DM. I don't think many DMs think of what they think of, what's the weather going to be in 24 hours. Um, Usually, you can, ask your DM, hey, what's the weather look like? Look up in the sky. It's probably going to be a good indicator of what you're going to be dealing with for your adventuring day. Um, Make a flower blossom or a seed pod open. I mean, I guess from a role play perspective, that's kind of cool, but mechanically seems mostly useless. Creating a harmless sensory effect like falling leaves, a puff of wind, um, faint odor. I mean, that's like low grade prestidigitation, if you ask me. And then the most useful, arguably, I think, is probably um, lighting or snuffing out a small campfire, a torch. Um, so, you know, like I've mentioned in a couple of my other videos, lighting a fire just like that is something that is useful. I mean, it's not going to come up a lot where you can't simply use your own natural skills to create a fire. Um, I, you maybe have to make a survival check or something like that, but most of the time you don't need a spell to do it. So, is this worth taking? I think in most cases it is not. Like I said, if the fairy race gets it, for free. So I mean, if you get it for free, I mean, sure, you might have some fun with it. But when it comes to actually looking at this as a spell that I might take, I pretty much am never going to pick Druidcraft, especially since druids don't get a ton of cantrips. So keep that in mind. If you're playing a druid, you have better options available to you most likely, and um, honestly, like I said, I mean the lighting of a campfire, if, or making a faint odor, sound of a small animal. Those are things that prestidigitation, minor illusion, um, create bonfire. They can all be replicated by other spells and to a better effect, in my opinion. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm tempted to give it a D tier. I don't like handing out D rankings because you know I like to be more positive. I like to think, okay, well, there's reasons to use this. It's not terrible. There are points where this is going to come up, but like when I'm talking about these other spells, Gray Bonfire, Minor Illusion, Prestidigitation, seems like their uses come up by and large just way more often. So, in the end of the day, yeah, I think I'm going to give Druidcraft a D tier ranking. Um, it's just, I mean, it's borderline between D and C, but yeah, I got to give it a D. I, I just don't think it is worth that slot. If you get it for free, cool, you can probably do some cool stuff with it to have some fun, mostly from a role playing perspective. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Yeah, in the comments down below, let me know what you think about Druidcraft. Am I being a little bit too harsh on it? Is it um, a spell that you've had luck with, or you've had a character that was, um, you know, making good use of this? Um, yeah, I mean, sell me on Druidcraft if it's a spell that you really like and you have some cool examples of uses for it that maybe I'm not considering. Would love to hear them. Also, leave a like and subscribe. Would certainly appreciate that. Channel is very new and looking to pick up some more subscribers, so we can start building a community here. And yeah, I definitely would love to hear some feedback from you guys. So I'm going to continue this little series here, and we're going to keep plugging along and try to cover every spell available. So hope you guys stick with it. Thanks.